Hi guys, just a little video today all about fitting extra lighting to the van. Now obviously I'm going to be using this for off-grid and parking, mainly off-grid locations, so I thought I could do with putting some extra lighting on the vehicle. Obviously the reversing lights, they're not that bright, and I wanted a few more spotlights on the front. Now I was going to wire in some lights to the reversing lights and have little spotlights mounted on my custom roof rack on the roof that I made, but obviously when I investigated the actual the wiring loom, the feed to the rear lights was very fine wire. I think it's something to do with the way the signals are sent through the canvas, and everything's all programmed in. So there was like mainly one thicker positive terminal, and then I think that provides, I don't exactly know how it works. I think the way it works is that provides the power, and there's a signal sent down a small cable. So obviously I didn't want to start chopping those wires, so I thought I'd wire it up on a separate switch. So what I finished up doing was I fitted the two LED mini light bars. I think they've got six LEDs in there. They're not too powerful, they just throw a little bit of extra light out. I fitted those to the roof rack, bought a small junction box, wired the cables into the vehicle, then ran the cable near the front, and then I purchased 4 spotlight wiring looms. So obviously it says wire them direct to the battery, but I've got a Fiat Ducato and it has got the converter socket down on the B post. I'll just show you that in a little bit. But I say it's got the converter socket with a positive feed. Now I wasn't going to use that for my conversion because obviously I didn't want to join my battery to battery charger cable to that, and I was going to run a thicker cable through to the battery anyway, because my battery to battery charger is going to be mounted in the back of the van, near the back doors. So I thought, well, I've got this positive feed, I might as well use it for all the spotlights. Now the converter socket is normally down there. You've got a positive feed, you've got a 13 pin feed there, there's another one at the bottom, there's 5 connections in there for your rear speakers if you want to connect rear speakers up, and the blue cable that goes to the bottom of the speaker on this one here, that little one at the bottom. You've got 4 speaker terminals, and you've also got a positive feed on that one. And if you are planning on having a battery to battery charger in the back that needs an ignition live, like a D+, on this socket here, there's a blue cable that goes to that, and that is a dedicated D+. So where it says you've got to put a positive feed to the ignition or the alternator to your battery to battery charger, you can utilise that cable there. Now the supply was clipped up there, but I disconnected it and fed it back through into the driver's doorstep. Now the positive feed, I've actually wrapped all the loom back up. It was actually in this cable here, this loom. So I cut the braid into cable, fed the positive and the negative, as you can see just down there, and connected them via an large connector block just down there. Just trimmed them a bit shorter. That's connected up to a 32 amp 240 volt connector block. And then what I did with the 4 spotlight wiring looms, they actually came with 4 relays, all the wiring which is fed back through here, through another cable which runs into the back. I'll show you those in a minute. Now, so you've got the 4 relays here, they're 40 amp relays, and they did come with 4 30 amp fuses. Obviously they're way too high. The lights I've used, I only need, for 2 of the lights, I only need 10 amp. So 2 of the fuses have been changed for 10 amp fuses, and 2 have been changed for 15 because they're slightly higher wattage. And then the switch to the from the relay, the switch cables, there are 4 of those. I took this plastic trim off here. They actually go up here under the dashboard, and then the actual switches, I've placed 3 up here. So these are basically for the I'm going a little bit over the top, making it look like something out of the zombie apocalypse. There are 5 LED spotlights on the front. 2 are going to be wired to the one switch, 2 to the other switch, and then 1 is for the main one in the middle, and I'll show you those in a bit. I've put 3 of them up, and I'm going to wire the other 2 up and fit those shortly. So I'll just turn that off. And then the one for the reversing light is, just bear with me, I've actually put this down here, so basically I can put it in reverse and flick the switch and then turn the lights on at the back. So that's how that looks, nice and neat. I'll say I picked those up off eBay. As you can see, I've fitted 3 of the spotlights onto my roof rack. The racking system is 30-30 extrusion, and there's some little brackets. There are some little black aluminium brackets that are fitted to those with my T-bolt studs, and then the spotlights are fitted to the brackets with M8 bolts. As you can see, M8 bolts. Now the cables, I'm actually going to put them in some conduit later on, but the cables will run across, and then I don't know whether you can see the marks. I'll actually mark the roof, and there will be a waterproof junction box going there with the cables going through, and the cables fed inside. Right, this is the rear junction box. It's actually fixed to the roof with Sikaflex to make a waterproof seal, and then there are 2 self-tapping screws, one either side, just there, and I've just covered those up with Sikaflex. Then there's heat shrink on the end, and the cables run up to the lights on the rear, and there's 1 either side there. These are actually connected and working at the moment, but I'm just in the process of doing the front lights. Now these are the other 2 LEDs that I've got to fit. As you can see, I've got these from Wow LED. I picked these up off eBay. I mean, they're not the best lights on the market, not the most expensive, but they're a damn sight better than some of the other Chinese lights out there. And they do come with a 2-year guarantee. Now, as you can see, the lights only come with a small bit of 12 volt flexi cable. Well, I say 12 volt, I think these run from 12 up to 24 volts, or 10 up to 24, and then the cable's been extended with 12 volt automotive cable. That's 1.5 mil, so it's I think it's 21 amp rated, and I've actually used these crimp connections. You actually crimp them, and then it's got its own heat shrink on there with a glue inside, so as you heat shrink them it seals around the cable so they're not coming out or there's not any damp getting in there. And then I'm also going over the top again once they've done with another thicker piece of heat shrink to hold everything together. Now the rear lights, they actually come through, the cable comes through the roof just up there and it runs all the way around the side across in the cavity in the roof, and it comes out just here, and that's connected to the wires there. I haven't bothered putting a heat shrink on the outside, obviously I'm indoors at the moment. I say it's inside the van, so it's not going to be getting wet, so I've used 2 more of these crimp connectors again and heat shrinked them, and then just taped over the top. And as I say, these are the other 3 wires for the lights at the front, which are fed. They actually come through the back. I've drilled a hole just in there, and it's in a protective conduit, and the cables run along inside the panelling, and then they come out here. Now obviously the 3 lights at the front, I'm going to drill the holes in the roof just at the side. They'll come through here, and then I'll be cutting the spade connectors off and using one of these again. So these are the little waterproof junction boxes that I'll be gluing to the roof. Obviously it's got shiny plastic on the back, so I'll be rubbing that down with a little bit of wet and dry just to give it a surface that the Sikaflex will stick to. And then there's the you've got 3 on, I say on this one there's 3 little silicone grommets that fit there. Cable goes inside, and then you tighten it up with one of these little glands nuts, and it'll squeeze the end, making a seal around the cable. But what I tend to do, just to be doubly sure, I'll put this on the cable, and then just before I tighten it up I'll just put a little squirt of Sikaflex in there, so as I tighten it down you'll get a little bit of Sikaflex squeeze at the end, and I know then it's going to be completely waterproof. Obviously what I'll do as well, I'll drill a hole in the bottom there just to thread all the cables through, and that'll correspond with the hole in the roof. Right, I'll go and drill some holes in the roof and then I'll show you what I'm doing next. Right, as you can see up here for the connector blocks, the waterproof boxes, I've drilled 3 holes in each of them. 2 of them are for the actual screws to fix it down, and the one in the middle, that's for a pilot hole, and I'll open the centre hole up to thread the cables through, and then I'll put some primer on the steelwork just to prevent any rust. Right, there we are with all the holes drilled out. For the larger ones I used a step bit. I opened that one up to about 18mm because there's 3 cables going through there, and that one there, that's only been opened up to about 15 because there's only 2 cables going through that one. I've put a little bit of primer in the holes and around the edges of the hole on the exposed metal. What I'll do now is get the waterproof boxes, sand the back of them, put a bit of Sikaflex on, and then just put those in place. As you can see, these are the 2 junction box fitted, bedded down onto some Sikaflex, and then there's a little screw that corner, and down the back there's another screw, one in each corner with Sikaflex, and then inside there's the hole where the cables will go through. So basically the cables will go in through here with a waterproof gland on it, and then down into the hole inside the van where I'll connect them up to the cables. This is the other LED light. It's a flood either side and a spot in the middle. That's the little aluminium bracket, and these are the little T-stud bolts which will drop into the extrusion track and then just tighten up. And as you can see, that's the cable with the, getting to focus your bugger, with the extra heat shrink on, so there's going to be no water getting into that. But then the cable is going to be threaded through some 20mm conduit, which is going to be fixed to the front of the roof rack. As you can see, that's all the lights fitted. I've just got to thread the cables through now, through the conduit, and then through the junction boxes into the van where I'll connect them. Right, as you can see, that's all the cables threaded through the conduit, and then it comes around. Cables exit the conduit just there. There's the 2 glands, the waterproof junction box glands, and they actually go through the roof. What I've done is where the cables enter through the hole, I've just put a bit of Sikaflex inside the hole and inside the junction box, basically so it'll protect the cable from any chafing just in case, and also if the seal around the top isn't as good as it's supposed to, it'll stop any water going down into the van. Obviously these are designed to have a small connector block and you join the wires, but I said what I'm doing, I'm using them as a waterproof gland to enter the vehicle, as opposed to buying the large type like what I've got connected to my solar panels. These are ideal for the job. As you can see, this is where the cables come through the roof, just there, and so I know which is which. The red one there is the centre light bar. The 2 without any tape on, they're the 2 outside ones, and these are the next 2 inner ones, and I've just got to wire them into the corresponding light switches. So what I'll do is the switches on the dashboard, I'll just turn the power on to 1 and connect one of the cables up to whatever light, well, one of the leads, to see which light comes on, and then obviously go and check out the front to see what light lights up, and then connect the corresponding cables. There you go, as you see, all the wires. I've just put a little bit of conduit over the cables just to protect them from rubbing. So that come down here, and then what I did, I cut the spade connectors, the female spade connectors off, and fitted Wago clips to the ones that have got two LED lights wired into them. The centre light is just one cable to one light, so I used a crimp connector with heat shrink on the outside, and then just taped it all up just to make sure it ain't going to move anywhere, to protect it. And then I've just tucked all the cables up there. Obviously when the batten goes across, these will be behind the panels in the van. And as you can see, those are the two rear lights all connected up and working. And if we walk around to the front, that's all the rest of the lights. I've got the van running just to see if it makes them a little bit brighter, obviously, because it'll be 13 point something volts going up to the lights as opposed to the 12.8. Obviously they are all on switches, so I can have a combination. Obviously, just to recap now, I used the converter socket on the Fiat Ducato. You can ask for it as an option, but on some of the vans, if you're lucky, they will fit it. So, and without it, you having to pay for it. Obviously, I was lucky when I bought this van. Obviously, I bought it second hand, but there was the converter socket down by the B post, which is fed from the main battery compartment down by the passenger footwell, and it's fused with a 50 amp fuse. Now, if I was going to do the layout a little bit different, and if I'd have had the battery to battery charger up the front end of the van, I would have used the existing cable and connected it up there. But obviously, because I'm going to have a longer run, I'm going to use thicker cable and then wire that in separate. So obviously I've got a positive feed, although it is live all the while. But saying that, if I'm sitting in the van and I hear something and I just want to have a quick look, I can just flick the lights on without having to turn the ignition on. So there's also the speaker cable connections down there, so if you did want to wire any speakers into the back of your truck, you can either buy the fitting off eBay, or basically just pull the wires out and use a connector block, something like that. That's if you did want any speakers in the back. So, all done now, all working, all cleaned up. If you've liked what I've done, just give me a like. If you want to subscribe, I'll be uploading videos as and when. Obviously I'm not doing them on a weekly basis. Basically, as I do a job, I upload a video, explain how I've done it, show you. Obviously I'm not a qualified electrician in any way, I just do my research. I've done a little bit of motor mechanics when I was younger, but I say I always double check. If I'm in any doubt, I ask someone with a little bit more knowledge, go on a few forums, ask a few questions. But I say, if you've got any questions, just drop them down in the comments. I'll try to answer them as best I can. I'll get back to you. So, nice chatting, and I say, if you like it, like and subscribe. watch the build process as it goes on. Thanks a lot, and I'll catch you all again